My name's Jack Watson, and I have the pleasure of serving as the Interim Dean of the College of Physical Activity and Sports Sciences. I also have the distinct pleasure of needing reading glasses to read some words that I wrote on a page in 16-point font that's bolded. So I know I don't look that old, but I'm feeling it right now. So on behalf of the College of Physical Activity and Sports Sciences, faculty, staff, and students, I'd like to welcome you to the 32nd Annual Hall of Fame Induction Ceremony. Tonight is a celebration of lifelong achievements of 4 CPASS alumni and to pay tribute to this year's outstanding alumnus, as well as the leadership and service of this year's recipient of the Distinguished Service Award. This evening, 4 CPASS alumni will be inducted into our Hall of Fame. These alumni, along with our outstanding alumnus and outstanding service award recipient, have earned these tributes by bringing honor to WVU and the College of Physical Activity and Sports Sciences through their outstanding accomplishments and contributions to their profession. All of the individuals who will be recognized tonight have been trailblazers who have been willing to fight through adversity to accomplish great things. Tonight is a celebration, a time to pay tribute to our alumni, faculty, staff, and students. I'd like to start by first saying thank you to the members of our visiting committee. I'm not going to ask you to stand because Herb will come up a little bit later and do an introduction of the visiting committee, but I would like to say thank you to all of you. I've known you, most of you, for a very long time. You have been very dedicated to the college. You've worked very hard. You give of your time and your energies and your passions to come back. And really, most importantly, you've given me some really wonderful friendships, and for that I am very thankful. This is a group of people who really work hard to make sure that our college continues to grow and expand and develop into the 21st century to be the best that it can be. It's also my pleasure to be able to work with a world-class faculty. We have some of the best faculty members in the College of Physical Activity and Sports Sciences that you could ever imagine. I wish I could sit here and tell you stories about the dedication that they have and the amount of time and effort that they put into trying to make sure that our students are the best educated students when they leave school. They are amazing, and the stories, I could go on for hours. So I'd really like to ask our college faculty to please stand and be recognized. We also have the most, and I know I'm used to calling everybody the most, but I really mean it. We have the most dedicated and professional staff in our college that you could ever possibly imagine. They are the frontline personnel that really make the college move and make it what it is. They are dedicated to our students, and they are dedicated to the pursuit of excellence in our college. They are oftentimes the ones that you interact with the first when you come into our college and the last when you leave. And these are they develop with our students and the people that come in some of the most lasting relationships that they will ever have. So I'd like to ask our college staff to please stand and be recognized. Thank you, guys. I'd also like to call out one specific staff member, Stephanie Martin. Stephanie, it was. Stephanie is one of the people that probably almost most people in this room know. She is really the person pulling the strings behind the curtain. All of the kind words that people give to me really should be given to Stephanie. She's the person that arranged for this evening, for this weekend. Stephanie is amazing, and I am so happy and lucky that Stephanie works in CPASS with us, so thank you, Stephanie. I'd like to ask our former Hall of Fame members, inductees, to please stand, and any Outstanding Service Award recipients. As you'll understand at the end of tonight, these people have amazing stories. These individuals have accomplished some of the most amazing things that you will ever see. And I am so humbled at the end of every Hall of Fame ceremony by seeing what graduates from CPASS can do. I mean, it truly is amazing, and I wish I could spend the time to actually go through some of their stories, but it's one of those things at the end of tonight, you're just going to say, wow. And those of us that graduated from CPASS, I'm happy to be a CPASS alumnus. It just makes me feel so proud to be able to have walked the same hallways, had the same professors, and really learned the same types of information as they did, because I aspire to accomplish what they've accomplished in their lives. So wonderful things. Thank you. Okay. And I'd also, if you'd like to learn more about those previous Hall of Fame inductees and tonight's, please go to our website. Please look up our Hall of Fame, or go to our building. We have the most beautiful display Hall of Fame monitors that you can look up every single person that's in our Hall of Fame and see their story. But now I'd like to move on and talk about present the 2019 class of Hall of Fame inductees, our outstanding alumnus and our Distinguished Service Award recipient. Award recipients, when your name is called, please stand and be recognized, and please remain standing until everyone's been introduced. So I'd like to start with Linda Burdette-Good. Jack Marucci. Jerry Koloski. Barbara Zimmer. Our outstanding alumnus, Paul Grace. And our Distinguished Service Award recipient, Sharon Sisler. I'd also like to thank the Hall of Fame and Outstanding Alumnus Selection Committees for their work in selecting this amazing group of inductees. I think at the end of the ceremony this evening, you're going to understand how amazing and how good of a job they've done, because this really is, again, a wonderful class of inductees. So at this time, I'd like to invite to the podium Dr. Mark Gavin. Dr. Gavin is the Associate Provost for Academic Budget, Facilities, and Strategic Initiatives. And Dr. Gavin is going to provide welcoming remarks. So, thanks, Mark.
Thank you all. I'll keep this short. And I'm slowly learning. Big font is my friend. So, 18 point. I might need to go up a little next time. My name is Mark Gavin, and as Jack mentioned, I work in the Provost's office. It's my honor to be here and to represent and carry greetings from both President Gee and from Provost Reed. As Jack has mentioned, we're here tonight to honor 6 individuals. 4 of those are Hall of Fame inductees, and Jack has already named them. We'll hear more about them individually in a few minutes. We have an outstanding alumnus, and then we also have a Distinguished Service Award. As with past Hall of Fame inductees and awardees, these individuals really are shining examples of the individual success and accomplishments within a range of settings, really. But something more than that. I think they're also outstanding examples, not just of that individual success and accomplishment, but they also show that that individual success can and really should come along with meaningful impact in one's profession and one's community. And these 6 people show that in spades. They really, truly do. And that makes this a pleasure, just a pleasure for me to be here doing this. It should be no surprise that we see 6 individuals coming forward to us through CPASS. The accomplishments of individuals that are associated with CPASS, these are, again, exemplary, but also in a lot of ways very consistent with what CPASS is about. So I've come to learn this about what's associated with this college in a short amount of time, and it is an engaged faculty and staff, an energized and ambitious student population, and you've got alumni and friends of the college who go out of their way in the world to make a difference. So a little bit, I'm going to venture off into just a little bit of a personal comment that sets the context, at least for me, and it is this. I've only been in my current position for about a year, just a little bit over. Prior to that, I was a faculty member in another college, not in CPASS, and not necessarily intentionally, but just as a matter of how you function through the day, the week, and the years, you tend to see the world within the inside of your walls of your own college. So I didn't know all that much about what went on around campus. In the year that I've been in position, I've had the privilege of learning about the different colleges, the different units around the university, and what they do. And in fact, I have to. That's part of my job. Much of it started last year at this very event. I had the privilege of being able to come here and do this at last year's ceremony. And that's when it really kind of struck me exactly what CPASS means to the university and to WVU. So it's really, it helps to come back and see this yet again in another year and have that prior year as a context for it. In addition to last year and what I heard in terms of those inductees and those awardees, this class is their own individual examples of, but very consistent with what CPASS produces and is associated with. In addition to hearing their stories last year, and they were really good stories just as they are this year. In addition to that, I've had the privilege over the last year of really kind of not necessarily seeing firsthand, but hearing a lot about what the faculty, the staff, and the students in CPASS accomplish. And it never truly ceases to amaze me. I spend, as part of my title suggests, I deal with well, I don't want to put this on anybody because some people might find this interesting, but budget, facilities, strategic initiatives, fairly mundane but necessary topics from day to day that we have to deal with at the university. But then I get to events like this and I actually get to see what people are accomplishing in the name of the university and for the university. And that's really when reading through these biographies over the last couple of days, even the snippets that are in the program, humbles you. It really does. And it makes you feel proud to be associated with a university that has people like this doing good things in its name out in the world. And I really want to offer that up as a sincere sentiment. I've also, and the other thing that I'll mention, and I think this is certainly not the example and not the only example, but a prime example of exactly what CPASS does. I've had the honor of seeing, and I'm not sure how many of you know what the Friday program is, or the Friday morning program. But this is a great example of what CPASS does for the university and for the community. Jack coaxed me into going out to seeing this thing in action last fall. And what it is a program where kids in the local school system who have special needs and otherwise might not see a lot of physical activity come in to WVU for a Friday morning 2-hour session roughly. And with CPASS faculty and staff guiding CPASS students, curriculum activity is constructed to serve anywhere from 100 to 200 kids who, again, get an experience that they otherwise would not have. To see that kind of an activity and what CPASS does to not only better the lives of its faculty, staff, and students, but those around out in the community, I think really is exemplary of what CPASS is all about. And again, I saw that last year with the inductees and awardees, and I'm seeing that again this year. It's something special. It really is. So it's no secret that the last year has also seen a lot of change in CPASS, not the least of which is Dr. Dana Brooks over there retiring, and Jack Watson taking the helm of CPASS along with a relatively new leadership team. And that's both an exciting and again, a daunting time when you have something like that. But I will say this, I think all signs suggest that what's been done for a successful transition, we're seeing all signs of success right now, and I think CPASS is in good hands and well positioned to keep doing what it does, which is moving into yet another era, positioned to make an impact in the lives of its faculty and staff, its students, its alumni, and its friends. So here is, and I'll end in conclusion with this. I'm so glad I got to come back and do this and see this in action again this year. I'm going to hope to do so again next year. And when I do, I will be interested over the next year from now to see what CPASS has accomplished in this next year. And I'll say this too. We have 6 individuals who we're going to individually honor and hear all about, and I'm really excited to do that. But I'm also already looking forward to next year to see what CPASS brings to the table by way of inductees and awardees, because if last year and this year is any indication, my expectations are pretty high. You all have a great college here, and you have a lot of good really good people making an impact associated with it. So thank you for letting me be a part of it, and thank you on behalf of West Virginia University for everything CPASS is and does.
Well, after that, I'm pretty sure we know who's being invited back to talk from the provost's office next year. So thank you, Mark. And as you can tell, as I was mentioning before, our faculty and staff are amazing. Mark gave a story about some of the work that they do, and that really does exemplify who CPASS is and what CPASS does, and the quality work of the faculty and staff in our college that I am just so privileged to work with. So, with that being said, I would now like to invite to the podium Dr. Herb Amato, who is the chair of the CPASS Visiting Committee, who will be giving a visiting committee recognition of what I consider to be the best and hardest working visiting committee on campus.
First, Mark, thanks for coming back. We weren't sure last year whether you would. No, I'm kidding. But thank you. Before I have the visiting committee stand up, I do want to add something that was just said. We told the provost earlier today that this was the hardest working visiting committee on campus out of the 14, and her comment was, "How do you know?" And I said, "Well, we voted." So I just want you to know that. But if the visiting committee will stand up, please. Visiting committee, just stand up, please. Once again, give them a hand. I feel very privileged chairing this group. If you don't know, they're all over the country, from Florida to California, and anywhere in between that. So it says a lot when we have that kind of commitment for people that are willing to make those kind of sacrifices to come back. I would like, though, to especially call out the Hall of Fame committee. So Bill, Les, Paul, will you stand up? Let me just give you a special notice of thanks. These are the three that actually did all the work in selecting the Hall of Fame committee. And to know, in order to be on the selection committee, you have to be a Hall of Fame member. And they were three of the people that stood up just a few minutes ago. Once again, it's going to be short and sweet. The only thing I really want to add is that we don't typically talk about money at this event, but with the Day of Giving coming up November 13th, I don't know if you all have followed that, but last year we had a great year of $19,000 for the college. Our goal is $25,000, and I would like for us to be pleasantly surprised that we have no trouble at all with that. So I am sure you've seen an email. I'm sure you've gotten a postcard. I'm sure between the university and CPASS, if you haven't heard about it, you will. But please, on the 13th, reach into your pockets and donate. But thank you for coming.
Like I said, we have proof that our visiting committee is the hardest working visiting committee on campus. They voted on it. No, but we do. This is a group of individuals that come to campus, and they work really hard for several days to help the college develop a path forward and really help us identify the ideas and the goals that we want to reach. And so it's a wonderful group of individuals to work with. Okay, we're getting to the point that we all came here for, right? This is the exciting time. So at this point in time, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Kathy Lipkovich, who is the chair of the CPASS Hall of Fame Selection Committee and co-chair of the CPASS Visiting Committee. And Kathy will help us with the Hall of Fame induction.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Hall of Fame Committee, I would like to extend a warm welcome to our 4 inductees, their families, friends, and colleagues. This evening, we are gathered to celebrate each inductee into the College of Physical Activity and Sports Science Hall of Fame. Their accomplishments, achievements, and professional success in their disciplines epitomizes what it means to be a graduate of West Virginia University. My colleague, Dr. Herb Amato, has previously introduced members of the Hall of Fame Committee. I extend my sincere appreciation to each of them for their dedication and professionalism in the selection of this year's inductees. In addition, I would like to thank Stephanie Martin for her valuable assistance and computer expertise during the past year. She was an integral part of our Hall of Fame committee. Each of these 4 inductees began their professional journey within the walls of this institution. They have obtained outstanding careers worthy of our recognition. Tonight, we pay tribute to a native of Parkersburg, West Virginia, who became an outstanding women's gymnastic coach, teacher, and mentor to female college athletes at this institution. Our second inductee, also a native of West Virginia, became the Director of Athletic Training for 32 years at the University of Las Vegas, Nevada, and has served in multiple roles as an athletic administrator. Jared Koloski concluded his remarkable career as Deputy Director of Athletics at the University of Albany in New York. Jack Marucci, our third inductee, currently serves as LSU's Program Director of Athletic Training for 21 Sports. He is also the founder of his own wooden bat company utilized by Major League Baseball players. As a student at West Virginia University, our fourth inductee became the first female resident hall intramural manager at Boardman Hall. She was also the first full-time coordinator of women's intramural and co-rec sports. Barbara Zimmer continued to achieve many distinguished firsts in her exceptional career, including the first female commissioner of 4 different District of Columbia sports organizations. At this time, I ask Terry House to please come forward to the podium and introduce Linda Burdette-Good.
Yeah, I do have to lower it, sorry. No, actually, I'm going to step aside. And these podiums, and Linda, we decided the short people, we get it here. And we're going to, usually these podiums are way up high, but I'm going to do this for my teaching job that Linda actually got me started on. So Linda, so many titles, so many identifiers for Linda Burdette-Good. I feel blessed that I've had the chance to have several identifiers for her. She's been a mentor, friend, very good friend. She's been a colleague, a peer. I think I was your boss at one point that you allowed me to come back and do, but she taught me the way. And I sit here and I think about all the different people that she has impacted, and it goes way beyond, the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. It's 6 degrees of Linda Burdette. And I think everybody in this room really at some point, and we can talk about identifiers: coach, administrator, mother, grandmother, husband, friend, queen, one of my favorite identifiers, but I think the most important one of all, educator, and I think that's what we're here for. She has truly been an educator for so many of us, and I think, from what Jack said, what everybody said here, that's what we're here for. That's what this recognition is all about, our strong educators. And congratulations to all the honorees tonight, but I think I have the most special honoree and have the pleasure of introducing Linda Burdette-Good.
She almost had it low enough. I will be brief, but I would like to congratulate all in the room who are being inducted and honored by West Virginia University School of CPASS. I'm still old school, sorry about that, I'll do better. You can look at a record book, you can open up any paper and see accomplishments that happened. But I want to tell you something as to why they happened. And it's because of the School of Physical Education, their former instructors, deans, everybody involved. I came to West Virginia in 1967 as a freshman. I wanted to teach physical education in Parkersburg at the junior high school level. That was my goal. When I graduated, I went back to Parkersburg. I didn't know what I wanted to do. In July, I got a phone call from Dr. Wincy Ann Caruth, and she was the dean of the School of Physical Education for Women. And she said, we have a little problem. We have school starting in the fall, and we need someone who can teach gymnastics and dance at a graduate assistant position, and we wondered if you were interested. And I was like, oh, of course, I'd never even thought about graduate school. So I said, but I don't have a 3.0. I didn't quite have the 3.0 necessary. She said, well, let me see what I can do. So she met with powers to be Dr. Yost, and they said, well, I'll tell you what, you come, you make a 3 or better your first semester, and we'll waive the requirement. So they believed in me, I came, and I graduated in 2 years with my master's. I come home, back to Parkersburg, not knowing what I was going to do. In August, I get a call from Red Brown, and then Leland Bird, and said that we had a gymnastics coach, and she went home. She didn't like Morgantown. She wants to go back to New York. And they said, do you have plans? I said, right now, I don't have any plans. They said, well, would you like to come to West Virginia University and work with the School of Physical Education as an instructor? You would teach 6 to 9 credit hours, and you would be full-time women's gymnastics coach. And I said, oh, that sounded wonderful. So it was 15 days later, I was in Morgantown, head coach, teaching 15 hours, 6 to 9 credit hours, and with the help of a lot of people from the school, Kitty Blakemore, Martha Thorne, Bruce Wilmeth, and I see a lot of professors, Dr. Alsop back there I had in graduate school, and a lot of friends and family, and if it wasn't for that, and the fact that West Virginia University saw something in me, I took the chance, I worked hard, they gave me the opportunity, or in all the records in those books would be nothing. And it was because the opportunity happened here, and I was fortunate enough to take advantage of it, and I loved every minute of it. And I hope if anybody learns anything from tonight, and I did have a wonderful career. You know, I was just inducted into the West Virginia University Athletic Hall of Fame. And this means so much to me because without the School of Physical Education, I wouldn't have had the other accolades. So I thank the School of Physical Education. And I was an old pro.
Back up to being tall. Our second inductee is Jerry Koloski. Unfortunately, his presenter, Mr. Brad Roth, could not be with us this evening. However, his remarks will now be seen in a short video that he has submitted.
I became the athletic director at UNLV, and our athletic training program was in horrible shape. Didn't have enough people and didn't have enough money. And so Jerry had taken a job when I came here, went to Iowa State as kind of the football trainer. And I asked him, do you know of anybody who might be interested in this job? He said it's not a good job. It wasn't poorly funded. But he said, yeah, he said, I think Jerry Koloski would be good. Jerry and Annette were both assistant trainers at Iowa State. But I called Jerry and he said, look, I'll come out and take a look. And he came out, and I said, can't afford much, but this is what we can afford. And if you're interested, you got the job. So he came, and the rest, they say, is history. Jerry was one of the finest workers at any level in intercollegiate athletic administration. He studied, he knew what the challenges were, and he came here and he was prepared to deal with them. He knew the profession very well. He knew where we could go to get assistance because we were down in terms of numbers in those areas, and he knew the head trainers that were there. Kyle worked with Jerry, and he brought Kyle in almost immediately, and then brought some other assistants in, so we were able to add bodies to that program, which he hadn't had previously, and Jerry basically ran it. And then he had one experience with the NCAA, chaired their national committee on athletic training and challenges in athletic training at the university level, and did that remarkably well. There was never a task that Jerry wouldn't attempt, and that's what I liked about him, because I could move some things his direction, and I knew he would handle them well, which he always did. I would rehire Jerry in a heartbeat. Appreciate all the things that he gave to UNLV when he was here, and I know that leadership is appreciated, and it was appreciated at State University of New York at Albany, because he kind of rode that same horse for them. A program without major resources, and was able to manage effectively the resources they had available to get successful programs in Albany. Congratulations to Jerry, to Annette and her family. Have a wonderful life. Jerry's father is still with him. Hope he has a long and happy life, and catch some big bass at the Saratoga.
Thank you very much. Certainly, needless to say, I'm really humbled and honored to be here. I remember getting the call from Jack and Dana, and I actually thought they called the wrong person. So I can't really tell you how honored this is for me to be here. I never really got into this business of athletic training for awards or recognition. So I'm very humbled by this and much appreciative. And I'm also saying it's really neat to go in with Jack. We've been friends for years in the business, and crossed paths many a times. And Paul is kind of a legend around here. And when I first came to WVU, I heard Paul's name so many times before having the opportunity to meet him, and all the great things that he's done. And also to Linda, and all of your accomplishments certainly are well noted. And also to Barbara, congratulations as well. Obviously, when you're in this business for 39 years, I know everybody says keep it short, and I'm definitely going to try to do that, because I can't really thank 39 years of people. But the main thing is that I've had the pleasure of working with so many wonderful coaches and administrators and mentors and colleagues throughout the country, that it's been a great ride, and certainly something I always enjoy. The most important people that I enjoyed the most, and the reason I got into this, student athletes, and that's always been my heart. And I really enjoyed the thousands of student athletes that I've had the opportunity to work with day in and day out. It was really a lot of fun. And now that there is social media, it's really cool to keep up with them and see them grow and their families and so forth. So thank you to all of them. But there are some people that definitely put me here today. And the first, you hear his name over and over and over again, John Spiker and his wife, Sabe. If it weren't for John, and I tell him this all the time, and I think he doesn't believe me, but I would never have been where I'm at. I went away to college to play baseball at Marietta out of high school. Kind of had some shoulder problems, and baseball wasn't going the right way. And then they kind of forgot to tell me I needed to go to class too. So that became problematic. And And so I was really looking for some direction. I really didn't know what I wanted to do, and I think you hear that a lot from people like us, and you're really not that goal-driven at that age. And through family and friends, and the long story short, they said, go down and talk to this guy, John Spiker. And I remember driving down, and I was really nervous because I knew I didn't have good grades, and I'm thinking, well, I'm not going to get in this program. It's very competitive, and I really didn't even know what I wanted to do. And after I met with John, it was just such a calming effect on me. He gave me motivation, gave me confidence, gave me direction. And driving home that day, I said, I can really do this, and I'm going to, give it my best shot. And I was fortunate enough to get into the program of athletic training here, and it's one of the reasons that I am certainly here today. I also want to mention, and Brad mentioned this, and I'll talk about Brad in a minute, but my dad is still with me at 93, my mom in heaven, but both of them, you don't realize that when you go through how many sacrifices they made to give me opportunities to do what I do today, or have done what I've done in my career. So certainly want to thank them as well. During my last spring here, in going through the program, Glen Johnson was the head football athletic trainer, and I really started out through their guidance as being a teacher, athletic trainer. So as physical education, I had a minor in special ed, and then in athletic training. And I was student teaching at University High School, and in the afternoons I would go to the training room to help out with spring football, and just to get a little bit more experience, I guess. And Glen Johnson was on the phone, and he said, hey, somebody wants to talk to you. It's Frank Randall. He's the head trainer at Iowa State University, about a graduate position. And I'd never applied to Iowa State. I didn't even really know where it was at. I'd never been west of Ohio at that time. So geographically, I was challenged there. But I got on the phone with Frank, and, you have to know him. He's one of the greatest guys, too, that I've ever worked with. But he basically said, hi, this is Frank Randall. I'm the head trainer at Iowa State University. I hear you're looking for a GA position. And I said, yes, sir, I am. And he said, well, are you worth a blank? And I said, well, I think I am. And he said, okay, Glen Johnson's recommendation is good enough for me. I'll see you in August. So I hung up the phone, and Glen said, how'd it go? I said, well, I don't know. I think I got a job. I think it starts in August, but I really don't know how to get there. So, but aside from that, you all, the other thing that happened there, which is probably more important than my 2 years I spent there, is I met my wife, Annette. And those of you that are in this business of athletic training, athletic administration at the Division I level, you know how challenging it is. And believe me, without her, I would never be here today. So I would like her to stand, please. And I also recognize my daughter, Megan, who's here with me, which is great. My two boys could not be here. But, and believe me, I know there's a lot of times where she hated every minute of it. The travel, the games, the competitions. We had 3 kids at the time. And back in the day at UNLV, our basketball team, I would leave on a road trip on Wednesday and come back Tuesday. So I was going a whole week, sometimes in California, soaking up the sun, and she's home raising our family, and I'm totally, totally great with that. Now, having said that, I just retired in May, so my hope is to make up for all that lost time with her, but if I happen to be working next year again, you'll probably know why, because she's going to run me out of the house. But also, I just want to mention Brad Roth Amell. Ironically, Brad was, he had a career here at WVU, was an athletic administrator here. I didn't really know that when I went to interview at UNLV. Kind of shows you how much attention I paid while I was here at UNLV to administration. But Brad was a great guy, great mentor to me. In his later years after being the athletic director at UNLV, he was a professor there and every day would come by my office and sit down and chat and help me and kind of guide me through. And certainly, I really appreciate him taking the time to do that. And he was really a good person for me. And I will also like to thank the University at Albany and Mark Benson, the athletic director there. After leaving UNLV for 32 years, I went there and was a deputy director of athletics for 4.5 years, and their staff was great. I really had a great time there, really enjoyed it. It was a great way to kind of close out my career. And I will end with, it's funny how your roots kind of all come back to West Virginia University. Of all the games and championships and everything that I've been a part of in my career, two of the most memorable moments I had to do with West Virginia University, believe it or not. My first year at UNLV, and some of you that are old enough to remember this, West Virginia played played UNLV in 1982-83. It was the first time in the history of UNLV that we were ranked the #1 basketball team in the country. I was new to the job. The two individuals that were there with me as athletic trainers took other positions, and I'd just been elevated to head athletic trainer position. And I was coming back to WVU as the #1 ranked team in the country. And I was nervous. I was really excited and all that, but it was really, really neat. Once I got here and I got through all the emotions, to sit out on the end of that bench and to know that most of the people in that crowd, not all of them, but most of them, and I even remember thinking about the empty classrooms on that Sunday afternoon and all the time that I put in there and in the athletic training room areas and all the time that I put in the clinical preparation. And sitting out there as the #1 basketball team in the country, which, by the way, West Virginia beat the heck out of us, but as the #1 basketball team in the country and being the athletic trainer for that program, and to know that it all started right here. And without my education and without the people here, my professors and everybody that mentored me through, I would have never had that opportunity to sit at the end of the bench. Second biggest one was about 9 years later, and I had the luxury of, or the honor, I should say, of being the athletic trainer for the national championship team at UNLV. We had beaten Duke that year in the national championship in Denver, and it was really, really an awesome experience, obviously, to go through that. It's kind of surreal when you do it because you're busy working and you don't really appreciate it. But the highlight of it was, in addition to my family, John and Sabe both were able to come to that game. And so to be from here and going through what I went through from an educational standpoint to get to where I was at, and to have John and Sabe there with my family to help me celebrate, and we had a great time that weekend, was really, really a truly remarkable thing. So, as again, this is just kind of over the top. This is the icing on the cake for me in my career. I really appreciate CPASS Visiting Committee for putting me in this position. I appreciate everything that the CPASS Visiting Committee, Hall of Fame members and Visiting Committee have done. Certainly, Stephanie, thank you for keeping us moving forward, and all your deadlines was really appreciative. And again, thanks so much, and have an enjoyable evening, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Will John Sparker please step forward and introduce our third inductee, Mr. Jack Marucci?
Listen, free tickets for the UNLV. I mean, hey, national championship, heck of a deal. Thanks, Jerry. It was a great time. You're right. I have the hardest job here, and that job is introducing in 3 minutes Jack Marucci and what he's done. So I'm not going to even try. I'm just going to talk about some of the things. but it's just a great honor to have Jack here. Jack came to West Virginia University from Laurel Highlands High School, nearby Uniontown, in 1982, and then we got another Mustang back there? All right. So certainly went through our curriculum very easily. I would say it was very easily. He made great grades. He did everything. Athletes loved him. The coaches loved him. Maybe he even worked gymnastics. I'm not sure. He did. That's the reason he did okay. So, but after finishing here in 4 years, then went to, now we're going to talk about it right now, but we can't say it where he is, went to University of Alabama. Now that's not really a word that he's using this week because you may know they play them next week in what will be a showdown for number one. But who's number one this week, Jack? I think you are, yeah, exactly. Very good. So after Alabama, as a grad assistant, then went to Florida State where he was 8 years with the Bobby Bowden Golden Era. But then for the last 24 years has been the Director of Athletic Training Services at LSU. And I've had the privilege to visit him there and know that that is a sports medicine program second to none. There he directs the health care for 21 sports, has a staff of over 20 doing athletic training and nutrition, et cetera. So he's done it all and continues to do it. He's the head athletic trainer for 2 national championships, and with just a little bit of luck, will be a third. So there are people who make the most of their opportunities, which he has done. It was a pretty straight path. And then there are people who create opportunities for himself and others. That's what Jack has done. He's always working to create a safer sports environment. Every time I talk to him, it's about hey, you wouldn't believe what we're trying now. You know, we've got this, we're trying to just reduce the head contact just a little bit more. We're trying to make everything just a little bit safer. He's always trying to create opportunities for people to be safer in their sport participation. So he's even created more opportunities with his hobby. His hobby started making wooden bats at home. Guess how many opportunities that's created for people? So what all that's done is created a multi-million-dollar business that beats out Louisville Slugger in number of bats that are used by major leaguers. So he's a creator in every way. He's even an architect. He's designed a couple athletic training rooms that are second to none on campus. But now I call him an architect because he's is actually developing player lounges. They used to be called lockers, but with Jack works with them, they become lounges. They become a lounge of its own, and you may have seen this online with the work that he's doing and dreaming of doing and what they're doing there. Probably a little different than the nail on the wall at Laurel Highlands. Is probably a little bit. So I know that in the Spiker family, when a major leaguer comes to bat, if they don't have a trademark M bat, then we're really not really want them to get a hit. However, if they've got that, well, then we're all for them. So it's just a great honor for me to present Jack as a member of the CPASS Hall of Fame. No one deserves it more. No one's more well known because his name is everywhere. And we congratulate you for that. Jack, thank you.
Well, I was shocked when they said that we have this award for you. And I'm thinking, well, I probably won't have to come up there. And they go, no, we got it for your open week. So they had it all planned, and I do appreciate the time spent getting us here. And, you always wonder, how do you get A to B? And, you look at, how do you get to an area where you're at today? And, when we're coming through the athletic training program, John Spiker is like Jerry West is to basketball. So for us, that's a big deal. And you've heard Jerry talk about how competitive it was to get in here. And that was probably one of the hardest things to do. And I like what everybody's talking about is about opportunity. And you wonder, how do you get there? How do you get that opportunity? And a couple things that you look at in life is you have to be resilient. And if you're not resilient in things, it doesn't create that opportunity. And the other thing is character. So I think, when you're going through life and these opportunities open up, those are two common factors that you see when you develop a plan to go ahead and move in life. And, it starts with your family. I'm going to have my mom stand up. Stand up. So that's, you have a cornerstone. It starts organically and it grows from there. Then the memories, from West Virginia is the same game Jerry's talking about. So my two roommates are back there, Kent and Mike. So we have this great idea. UNLV's coming in number one. How are we going to get the seats? I don't know which one thought of it. Well, let's go sleep out at the Coliseum. It was freezing that night. I remember we found a grate around the, you guys remember that? We slept all night there. All night. So it was one of our biggest memories too. Well, from roommates to develop, again, the friendship, that's what teaches you here. And that's what teaches you about, again, so another life lesson. And that's another building block. So you don't know who's going to influence you. You don't know what's going to make you better at what you do. But every person that you interact with, it's another building block. And, we're all from around this area. We know what the work ethic is. We also understand what it is, again, to be resilient and how to take on a challenge and don't get down and continue to work. And I saw it 2 years ago. We talk about baseball, we talk about the bats. Again, that was something that an 8th grade woodshop class gave me the opportunity to create this company. Now listen, I don't deserve all the credit. We have a great group of guys. There's a lot of people involved, so I don't want to think it's just me. There's a huge team that's, derived from that. But the thing is, and my family's heard this story about my son. He goes and plays baseball at the University of Houston. He's playing a little bit, he's not going. And I was very truthful. I said, Gino, maybe you're not that good. Maybe you're just, you're not creating that opportunity. But he kept a good character, he kept good resilience. And he transfers. I said, well, I think that's a good idea. It will be closer to home. You can finish up there. And it was a lot cheaper too. So he goes and plays. The new coach, the coach was there, gets fired. He was ready to play. He's going to finally get his opportunity because of resilience. And what happens is, I go up and see him. The first base coach goes, hey, I'd like to talk to you. And I go, first thing that crosses our mind, because the way we were raised, I'm going to kill this kid. What's he doing? He's got to be creating something that's, and the coach goes, no, I just wanted to tell you he's one of the best kids I've been around. He works hard, he does all this. And he goes, we come in here and we bring all these players in. There's about 28 guys. And he goes, but I'm fighting for him. I want him, he can play, he can hit. So the season goes on, gets a couple opportunities, and he'd call, tell me how the day went, or, Dad, the clock's running out, I'm doing everything I can. I said, just hang in there. So they're playing the number 14 team, Coastal Carolina, and he goes in. The left fielder gets hurt. And they go, all right, number 21, you're in. He wore 21 because of Clemente. We brainwashed him, of course, a Pirate. So he goes, Dad, next thing I know, my glove comes out of the bullpen. I go, what are you doing? He goes, that's who I hung out before the game. I never thought I was going to play. He scoops up the glove, runs out to his position. I go, Gino, did the coach see that? He goes, Dad, that was their favorite player. They didn't care about me. So he runs out there. He's in left field, and this 10-year-old kid is just wearing him out. He goes, Dad, this kid is heckling me to death. He goes, you're next. You're going to drop the ball. You're going to get hurt. And he goes, this ball goes about 3 miles in the air. He goes, I catch it on my hip. I said, well, at least you hung in there on that. He goes, well, listen to this. First time up, triple. He ends up going 4 for 4 that game. The next game, 3 for 4. Next game, 2 for 3. 2 for 3. He gets player of the week. I said, Gino, you went from the worst player in that league to the best in a week. He gets a nickname, the Hit Machine. Now all of a sudden, he's feeling pretty good about himself. We go up and see him, another double, another triple home run. Continues this onslaught. His coach, the coach that was pulling for him, calls me and goes, you know what? This is one of the most incredible stories. I got to have this. He goes, he may get a look in the, he may get a look. I said, Brandon, he'd have to hit 500. He's not going to be able to do it. He's going to have 50-some at bats. So he continues to play. We go in the last week. They're playing UL Lafayette, brand new stadium, 5,000 fans, packed. It's like their rival. Gets up, hits a double, hits another double, 2-run double. His last at bat, his big head's on that scoreboard. He's hitting .500. 500. I said, if this guy gets a hit here, he's going to hit over 500. Base it up the middle. And sure enough, we got phone calls. But he didn't decide to play. He decided to just get into workforce. But to me, that was a sign of character, and that was a sign of resilience, which creates opportunity. And that's what West Virginia did for all of us here. And it's always going to be remembered as that, and we'll always means a lot to all of us in our hearts. So, thank you, appreciate it.
Our fourth inductee, Barbara Zimmer, will be introduced by her husband, Chip Zimmer, at this time.
Thank you, Kathy and Jack. Wow. It's my extreme pleasure and honor to say a few words of introduction for my wife, Barbara Zimmer's induction into the CPASS Hall of Fame. I'm so happy to see old faces in the crowd, some old friends. Dana, Fish, Bill, Paul, Carol, Ike, and John beat the hell out of Pitt Spiker. And special thanks to our daughter and new son-in-law, John and Kate, for being here to share this with us tonight. But first, if I may, ask you all to have a moment of silence for a dear friend of all of ours, a former CPASS Hall of Fame member and an old pro, Dr. Tom Martin, who passed away last month. So if you'd please give us a moment of silence in Tom's honor. Thank you. Fuzzy, as we all called him. Barb was a pioneer in women's sports. No, not as an athlete. I remember one time when I was coaching our Towers girls flag football team. We had piled 9 girls, including Barb, thank heavens, or I'd have gotten in real trouble, and me into our Volkswagen Beetle and brought them from Towers to the Coliseum fields to play a flag football game. It was a close game. I shocked everybody when we were in about the 25-yard line. And I asked Barb, I said, Barb, go in and punt. She was the worst punter on the team. She couldn't figure out why, but boy, she was fired up. So she went in there, and I figured, as the worst punter on the team, we're on the 25-yard line. She'd kick the ball down to about the 5, and we'd be good to go. Well, she was so excited about my faith in her, she booted a friggin' 50-yard punt. We ended up netting minus yardage because the ball came back after she kicked it out of the end zone. And she couldn't quite understand it, why I broke my clipboard over my knee as she triumphantly came off the field. Well, she wasn't a coach either, but she became one of the best leaders and administrators in the burgeoning field of women's sports. Just as Title IX went into effect, Betty Boyd, many of you will remember, hired her as the first paid female intramural dorm manager, and she broke all sorts of records, intramural records at Borman and Towers. Then Dave Taylor, another CPASS grad, hired her as the first full-time coordinator of women's and co-rec sports. She did have a few bumps along the way, though. It wasn't all roses, especially when she ruled against my old pros co-rec flag football team and cost us the all-campus championship. I still remind her of that after, I don't want to remember how many years ago that was. Well, we left Motown for College Park, and she upped her game. She became the first female sports specialist for the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, which at the time was the largest, most highly recognized recreation department in the country in Montgomery and Prince George's County. She became the first female commissioner of 4 different sports in the metro area, first female president of the Maryland Recreation and Park Association, first female director of NC State's prestigious sport management school. She worked with such notables as gold medalist Sugar Ray Leonard, Lefty Drizel, and the Queen in Her Court fast-pitch softball team. Shifting gears, she became the first female executive director for Sport for Understanding, where she oversaw an international sports exchange program, traveling and negotiating with Olympic and international sports, with Olympic committees and in countries from Australia and New Zealand to Germany and the UK. She opened, quote, the Soviet Union for their first sports exchange in the Western world. She once cut off negotiations with Saudi Arabia because they wanted only to do a sports exchange with boys, not girls, and she walked out of the room and said, no, you're going to do both or we're not doing anything. She's also reminded of the time that the Japanese delegation refused to acknowledge that she was a woman, so they kept calling her Mr. Director in their negotiations for a sports exchange program. During this time, she was asked to serve as a CPASS visiting committee and became the first female chairman ever. As our daughter Kate became a volleyball player, Barb co-founded the Tri-State Fellowship of Christian Athletes Volleyball Club, the first time FCA had sponsored a club or a team in their history. Now, some 19 years later, there are hundreds of FCA volleyball clubs and teams competing across the country. So once again, she was first. A pioneer, a mentor, an advocate, a visionary, a great mom, and my wife of 46 years. Let us welcome Barbara J. Zimmer to the CPASS Hall of Fame.
I don't know what to say after that. He just gave my entire speech. We did not talk about this. But thank you. I'd like to congratulate the other inductees. After hearing their bios, I was like, why am I here? I can tell you this is quite an honor. I do not write speeches, by the way. I thought about what I was going to say tonight. Actually, Chip gave my bio. He said some things that were not true. I was somewhat of a little bit of an athlete, just a little bit. Ike, I need you afterwards. We got to have a talk with him. One of the nicest things about tonight is I've seen people that I haven't seen in decades. I'm not talking about a few years, I'm talking about decades. When I first started to sit down to think, what am I going to say? And I looked at the years, I thought, oh my gosh, it's been 50 years. I don't know how that happened, I'm not 50 yet, but it's been 50 years. And I look back from where we all came from. Dana, we were grad students together, and I ruled against him at least once, as when he was an old pro. But my gosh, I don't know, you got older, and I still haven't figured that out, how I didn't, but he did. But I remember when he was a kid. Of course, I was a kid then too. Two of the most wonderful happenings tonight, as two of my girls are here, two of my players, two of my friends. I didn't know they were coming. Would you all stand, please? This is Terry O'Fish, and this is Kathy Eichenseer. We played together 50 years ago. I was a little bit of an athlete, Chip. I just offended our daughter because I told her that Kathy Eichenseer is the best all-around female athlete I'd ever seen in my entire life, and that's still true. Those of you who are almost my age may remember her. She was quite an athlete. And then I look at both of them, and they're thin, and I really think that all the weight they lost, I found. And I'm like, how in the world did this happen? But it did. But the two of you being here have made my night. Thank you. Bill Alsop, he was a young professor when Chip and I were here as well, we were actually working on our masters then. And I'm sure that Bill could tell some stories too, but I don't think Maria will let him, so that'll be nice too. I remember Linda. Linda was just slightly ahead of me, but she was the gymnastics coach when I started here. And Carol, where's Carol Straight? Where's Carol? There's Carol, sorry, I've gotten a little bit older. If it hadn't been for Carol, I'm not sure I would have finished my master's. The support I received here, not just from the staff, not just from the professors, but everybody, even my players. I mean, we started when women's sports, Title IX came in when I was a senior. I remember Kitty Blakemore. I remember, and Ike, you'll remember this, we used to play volleyball, basketball, anything with those, just to help them get some practice. At that time, they were given money for scholarships, and they gave it to the girls who needed it the most, not necessarily based on talent, but who needed it the most, because they were starting the programs. I mean, the kids today do not know what happened 50 years ago. I benefited from the generation before me. There were women that I remember when I would go to the national conventions. They were almost tenured professors, and they would be fired because they were fighting for equal rights for women. When I was the first intramural director here dorm manager, at that time, the boys were given the same thing as an RA. They got room and board. Betty Boyd, who I was scared to death of, paid me $35 a month. The second year, all of the women who were dorm managers at that time got the same things as the boys. So you could slowly see the advancements. Linda, you probably remember when you first got your scholarships. But it was a generation before me that gave me the opportunities. I had no idea that I was breaking ceilings. I just knew I was doing something that I loved, that I got paid for. When I came to school here, excuse me, I was the first one in my family that ever stepped foot on a college campus. My dad had worked in the coal mines. He'd worked at Carbide. He got his GED when I graduated from high school. We would sit at the kitchen table and I'd help him do his homework so he could graduate when I was in high school. But he did it. They were both the youngest of 12, by the way. My mother she had a 6th grade education. That was it. They were the true West Virginians at that time. Our family bled blue and gold. Now, I had a lot of offers because I was the first going to college. And I guess at that time I didn't know it, but I was coming from a very poor, deprived area. And I received all types of offers and scholarships. I actually came to WVU in a pre-med. I wanted to go into pre-med. But in my family, the only place that you even thought about, forget Harvard, Princeton, Yale, who were they? We went to WVU. That's where I was going. And they were so proud of it. People have asked, we had to do a little video, and the questions were, how did WVU help mold your career? It wasn't my career, it was my life. I stepped foot on this campus in 1969, 17 years old. My mouth dropped open, my eyes opened up, and I was like a deer in headlights. There was a whole new world that I had no clue existed. This became home 2 weeks after I stepped foot on campus. That was my freshman year. My husband, who I am going to get later, asked me, because they were looking for someone to help with women's sports, trying to get them started, asked me if I'd be interested in being an intramural director. And I said yes, I'd do it. It would sound like fun. Well, now remember, I was in pre-med. My daughter's giving me the sign. If it hadn't been for him asking me if I would like to do that, I never would have gotten into what sports management was. I had no clue what sports management was. There were no degrees in sports management. We were under the School of PE. I was a rec major at that point. I switched over from pre-med to recreation, and I got my master's in physical education. Every step of the way, I felt supported. There was no work. It was fun. We had fun together. We were all, I mean, like Bill Alsop, he was a young professor. I mean, it was just fun. I started here not even knowing really what sports were, because I played basketball when there were 6 women on the team on the floor. They made me a Rover because I was too dumb and stupid not to cross the line when I wasn't supposed to. I am so glad to see young people here. You've heard a little bit from the pioneers. I never felt like a pioneer. I was doing what I loved. I started internships programs everywhere that I worked, that they never had, because you have to pass it on. It's got to be continued. It has to go to the next level. I did my absolute best that I could to encourage other young women to live their dreams. My dad, as uneducated as he was, always taught me to take the hit. If you thought you were right, you kept going. You take the hit, get up, and go. The only thing that was going to stop you is you. That's it. God gave us all a head, a brain, 2 arms, and 2 legs. It was up to us. He never understood the choice I made, not marrying Chip, but Actually being in the sport. I'm going to get you back. I mean, don't think that's over. He never understood what I was doing in sports, but as long as I could put food on the table and I was happy, he was okay with it. One of my regrets is that he's not here to see this. He really would get in his pickup truck, or as we said, pick-em-up truck, drive up the mountain, sit on top of the mountain, and listen to the West Virginia football games. That's how much he loved this. He just loved this school. One of the hardest decisions Chip and I ever had to make was to leave. But he had a graduate assistant position at Maryland to get his doctorate, and that's when I happened upon park and planning. I was very fortunate. It was the largest and the biggest in the country. And I was very fortunate to be asked to work for SIPU. If you give me the sign one more time, I'm going to break the finger, just so you know. But I went from the hills of West Virginia to traveling the world. I had offices in 30 countries. I had 13 regional offices in this country. It was fun because I got to teach college coaches how to coach overseas, that there is nothing right, nothing wrong, just things that are different. We tried to use sport as the vehicle or the tool to help create world peace. I know it sounds corny, it sounds like it's canned, but that's what we really tried to do. I had to give that position up because in 1989, I got pregnant and I had a kid. She was my 5th pregnancy, the only one we had. And I was scheduled to go overseas for 6 weeks. She was 6 months old. Here, this pioneer, whatever, trailblazer, whatever you called it, cried all the way to the airport, cried on the plane, and cried when I got there. She was 6 months old. Was she going to remember me when I got home after being gone 6 weeks? I decided at that time somebody else could do the job, but no one else could be her mother. So I gave it up. Well, lo and behold, this kid, this little squirt that ended up being 6'3½", picked up the volleyball when she was 8 years old. We were trying to get the kid to play basketball. I mean, she was 6'2" when she was 12, so we thought, possibility here. As much as Chip and I love sports and we were wannabes, she was the real thing. We coached her until, at the age of 12, she was way beyond our abilities. We had to get better coaching for her. Penn State started recruiting her when she was 12 years old. I don't know if you know, but Penn State was #1 in the country 5 years in a row. She made the national team for 3 years and trained 3 years at the Olympic Training Center. She trained one summer in China at Beijing right before they hosted the Olympics. She went up in college and hit the ball, the spine went. It collapsed. This is from someone who had worked 5 to 8 hours a day to achieve her dream. My kid is my hero, but she doesn't know what's going to happen next. After she's done, I mean, she can't play volleyball again. The back is too bad. She's got an implant that she can zap her back, and John, you probably know what that is, that she can zap herself for the pain. Took her 5 years to get through law school, because in the midst of that, the brat had messed up her ankle trying to work out on the tread machine, and she broke her ankle and her foot and ended up with 3 surgeries, the rods and all that good stuff. In fact, if she goes through the machines at the airport, you're going to hear alarms and bells go off everywhere. So she carries a big sign, yes, I am metal. I'm sharing this with you for a reason. We thought she was done. She almost died on us. She developed, after the first surgery at Hopkins, she developed blood clots in both lungs. This was my 20-year-old baby. Never prayed so hard in my life. Probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. And there's young people here, and I'm sharing this for a reason. She never gave up. She never quit. She epitomizes a lot of the West Virginia values. She doesn't know it, but she has West Virginia in her. Oh, Linda, I'm sorry. Is she all right? She epitomizes the best of two worlds. My dad had been a coal miner. My husband's dad was a colonel and a president of a college. Well, two different worlds there. She's got both of it. Well, she graduated from law school, and then she got married 2 weeks later. She's been married 4 months now, still newlywed. She married another lawyer. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say it that way. We still don't understand what we did wrong, that we ended up with 2 lawyers in our immediate family, but that's the way it is. I'm throwing down the gauntlet now to all of you young people. I see young faces. I see some of my professors and some of my friends. If my professors had not supported me, if the staff had not supported me, I would never have been all around the world. I would never have been talking to the Saudi Arabians. I never would have been upset with the Japanese, and I could go on and on and on. It's up to you all to take it to the next level. Our daughter will probably be a victim advocate as an attorney. I'm going to challenge her, because I know her husband, John. Would you two stand up? We're talking about accomplishments. My daughter is the biggest accomplishment I ever had. There's nothing more important than children. Children are a blessing from God. I truly believe that. But you young people, you out there that are under the age of 50, Mark, from the provost office, you're young. I know, but you're still young. I have shoes as old as you, so it's fine. I'm going to challenge you to kick it up a notch. Take it up a level. Help other people. Encourage them. Those of you who are in positions of leadership that are teaching and coaching, you don't know who that next student is that is walking through that door. That next student could be the one that cures cancer. That next student could be the one that does somehow manage to have world peace. Please pass on what WVU gave to you to someone else. I'm passing the torch to my daughter tonight, asking her to help other people. I know she will. She has trouble when women are abused because she doesn't understand it, because she would be like me. She'd take a baseball bat and fix it real quick if somebody beat her. Dana's laughing, you know I would. And so, but anyway, little me can come forward. But anyway, but she can't take it when a child is abused or when an animal is abused. I'm hoping that she will help others. And for those that are still here that are not retired yet, continue to do what you do. You have no clue what an influence and impact you have, not on just people's careers, but on their life. Thank you.
Barbara.
This evening, we listened to our 4 inductees speak of their memories, their challenges, and inspirations within their professional journeys. The words Hall of Fame will now be added to their list of accolades. The Hall of Fame committee is proud of you. We congratulate you, and we have honored you tonight. Thank you very much.
Wow. And we're not through yet, but amazing, amazing individuals that we've recognized so far this evening. At this point in time, I'd like to bring forward Peggy Bonson, who is the chair of the CPASS Outstanding Alumnus Selection Committee. Peggy.
Thank you, Dean Watson. I have been awed by the stories that I've heard here tonight. My congratulations to each and every one of you. You have made us all proud, and we are so proud of being fellow West Virginia University and CPASS graduates with you. So once again, my congratulations to you. I am here tonight to just give a name to you as the outstanding alumnus. But before that, I want to thank my committee, and my committee consists of John Spiker, Judith Hayes, Bill Douglas, and John Mallory, and only John can be with us this evening. But it is also an honor to look at the accomplishments of the people in the Hall of Fame. And from those people, we have an extremely difficult task of selecting one to be the outstanding alumnus. And this year, as you know, it is Paul Grace, and to tell Paul's story. First of all, I'd like to say, Paul, congratulations, and I enjoyed serving on the visiting committee with you. It was indeed a pleasure. And to tell Paul's story, I'd like for Chad Starkey to come forward, please.
I was threatened not to give Paul's full story. But I think Jerry Koloski, during his Hall of Fame induction, summed Paul Grace up. He's a legend. John Spiker is the Jerry West. Paul Grace is the Ron Burgundy, if anybody here is familiar with Anchorman. Paul, as fate would have it, was my student teacher at Morgantown Junior High School in 1973-ish. Our Mountaineer paths crossed again when he was serving as the chief athletic trainer at MIT. From MIT, he went on to become the first executive director of the Athletic Trainers Board of Certification and benchmarked our professional path. Pretty proud of him for that. Paul then went on to serve as the executive director of the Occupational Therapy Certification Agency. In this role, he's had the opportunity not only to set national healthcare policy, but international healthcare policy. All the while, he's exuded all the attributes that we've heard that Mountaineers are. I'm proud to call him my friend and this year's outstanding alumni, Paul Grace.
Thank you. First, I want to congratulate the Hall of Fame winners. I know it's a special night for all of you, and really enjoy it, because it's tomorrow morning you'll look back at this night and say, wow, and keep it. When I received a letter from Dana last year informing me that I received this award, I was pretty much stunned. Knowing some of the previous winners of this award, I felt to be put in that class of individuals, it's all inspiring. My career has taken me to a lot of places. As Chad mentioned, most importantly, I worked as an athletic trainer. It's really interesting. I started my college career at a junior college in Florida called Miami-Dade Junior College. I went there because I thought I had a pretty good curveball. And Miami-Dade, for the years, was a terrific place to play baseball, and if you want to go into the pros. My freshman class was two people that many of you may know their names, Mickey Rivers and Bucky Dent. They both could hit a curveball a hell of a lot better than me. So fortunately, the entire faculty at Miami-Dade North was graduates of West Virginia University. Debbie Maneri, Leland Bird. And so I got involved in athletic training there. The athletic trainer was a graduate of WVU. Don Haskell, his name was. He played baseball, but also served as an athletic trainer. And I was, in the middle of my sophomore year, Leland Bird and I, who was my advisor, suggested I look to come to West Virginia. And there I met Whitey Gwynn, and the rest is history for me in that regard. Dr. Bird then became AD here, and my wife, Kathy, and I was a grad student. At that time, grad students made $275 a month. $275 a month. We didn't even qualify for food stamps at that point. Anyway, Dr. Bird called me into his office down in the old field house and said, my fraternity is looking to hire someone to collect the rent because they weren't getting their national dues being sent in. So you'll get free room and board for you and your wife in an apartment. And this was at the Pike House. If you don't know about the Pike House, it's that fraternity house up on the hill that is quite a spectacular place. So we took the job. I took the job. I said, we have a place to live, getting meals, and we have $275 a month to live on. This is great. Lo and behold, that experience lasted my entire year as a grad student. And then I went back to Miami-Dade as an athletic trainer. And one of my roommates at Miami-Dade then became the baseball coach at LSU, Skip Bertman. And I would travel, our baseball team would play, and Skip was first at Miami Beach High School, then he came over to work at Dade, and then he's legendary in Division I sports. West Virginia gave me an opportunity, and that opportunity was nourished when I went to MIT. MIT is a candy store of innovation, of exceptionalism. And there's a career path at MIT. They may hire you as an athletic trainer, but they really size you up and they move you into certain areas. And I was fortunate enough to be sort of targeted, shipped over to the Sloan School of Management. And my mentor, in a way, there was a guy by the name of Lester Thoreau, who was a world-famous economist, and we got to know him very well. He was a mountain climber, believe it or not. But there, the principle on everything that they do there is on how can we fail? Not how can we win or how can we succeed, but how can we fail? And looking back at my time at West Virginia, how could I have failed if not paying attention to people like Andy Ostro or Bill Ossoff or Ramsberg or Gwynn or Wincy Ann Carruth and Charity White? I wouldn't be standing here right there. It wasn't for those people, but particularly if I didn't really approach them, retrospectively looking at them on what they gave me. I then went to the NATA Board of Certification, as Chad mentioned, as their first executive director. And I did that for 15 years. It was a great experience, but it was time to move on. And I went to the Project Management Institute, and I was there for 4 years. And those 4 years, I made 18 trips to China because the Chinese government wanted to bring American management certification into their realm. And again, West Virginia played a role. I was going through the Beijing airport for the first time, and any of you who have been to Beijing know what that airport's like. It's crazy. And there was a flag, a banner. It said West Virginia. There was a tour group from West Virginia going through. And I happened to say to them, go Mountaineers. And we had a great little reunion of sorts of people I never met, but we were there together at the airport. In closing, I want to thank the committee, and I want you all to think about the 4 words, how can we fail? And there's a lot that we talked about at our visiting committee on the future of activities that this school may be involved with. And I would encourage you always to be vigilant in supporting what CPASS means and what it stands for. Again, I want to thank people like Dana, who has been such a great friend over the years to me. Thank you very much, Dana. And now Jack in his role. Have a great evening, and thank you very much. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you.
So now it is my distinct pleasure to talk a little bit about the Distinguished Service Award recipient. And if you know Sharon Sisler, you realize that one person isn't good enough to introduce her, so I'm going to ask Tracy Wheeler to come up and join me. The Distinguished Service Award was created by Dean Dana Brooks in 2003 to honor the outstanding contributions that individuals have made to the College of Physical Activity and Sports Sciences. This award has mostly, but not always, been given to a CPASS employee who has made strong and consistent contributions to the success of our college. Since its inception, this award has only been given 6 other times. In short, this is a prestigious award that is given only to those who have made truly distinguished contributions to our college. With that said, we have an amazing recipient of the award this evening. So it's my pleasure to be able to introduce Sharon Sisler as the 2019 recipient of the College of Physical Activity and Sports Sciences Distinguished Service Award recipient. Although Sharon worked in many other units at WVU, she joined CPASS in 1982. I know what you're thinking. How did WVU get around those child labor laws to hire an 8-year-old to work in CPASS? I don't know how they did it. I wasn't here then. But they did, and we're very lucky that they did. So, just quickly to go through a few of Sharon's amazing accomplishments, achievements, and what she's contributed to our college. Sharon was the Chief Business Officer for both Deans Douglas and Brooks. She was responsible for keeping the CPASS budget intact for many, many years through many difficult financial times. I can assure you that myself, Valerie Wada, Lynn Hausner, have not made that task easy on her in the last many years. Because I know at the last second how many times I'd throw new names of instructors at her at the very last second. New classes that need to be taught. Forget to tell her about faculty that were traveling to different places and how we were going to support that travel and all the projects that needed to get funded. But she was always there. She always was willing to work with faculty on their budgets for their grants to make sure that they stayed compliant. I know how hard we worked her. And those of you who know Dana Brooks and the Energizer bunny that he is, know probably how hard and how many tasks he gave her to do as well. Let's just say she's been really busy for a very long time. To give you a couple of other quick accomplishments, because of her efforts and contributions to CPASS and WVU, she was recognized as a WVU Employee of the Year recipient in 1992 and was one of the initial recipients of the 150-year Mountaineer Value Coins. I think from my portion of this introduction, I'd like to end with a quote that came from Valerie Wada, where she stated that, quote, "I consider Sharon Sisler to be the epitome of the 5 values that WVU espouses. She was a wonderful role model as I navigated the administrative roles and responsibilities within our college. My hope is to demonstrate these values daily to pay tribute to the impact Sharon had on my professional career." With that, there's more to be said, and so I turn the microphone over to Tracy.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here to talk a little bit about Sharon and her work with her staff. I'm one of the many who have been honored to work with Sharon over the years under her leadership. Sharon was more than a leader and a mentor, though. She was a good friend, a very good friend to all of us. Sharon always took the time to get to know her employees on the personal level, delivering birthday cards and gifts, always the first one to check in on loved ones to see how they were doing. And she always did a great job of making her staff feel a part of the college. Sharon encouraged her staff to pursue training and development opportunities, and Sharon was a leader in that as well. She is a lifelong learner herself and has never stopped developing new talents and skills. Sharon worked tirelessly in a multitude of capacities throughout her career, always the staff advocate, while at the same time providing exemplary service to the administrative team, which was not an easy act to balance. Sharon was always the presenter of staff awards, so she rarely received them herself. In the spring of 2018, our then Dean, Dana Brooks, established the Excellence in Service Award, the Sharon Sisler Excellence in Service Award. So each year moving forward, a new recipient will be named. So even in retirement, Sharon is encouraging staff to strive for excellence. Congratulations, Sharon. I can think of no one better suited to receive this award this evening.
My written notes is going to be my friend this evening, I think. Good evening to Associate Provost Gavin, and to Dean Jack Watson, and to the distinguished inductees, and to all of the CPASS family and friends. I'd like to extend my congratulations to the Hall of Fame inductees and to the outstanding alumni. I walked the Coliseum hallways a lot of years with Linda, and most of you that were inducted, I have worked with you on the visiting committee over the years. Your path to success and your stories tonight were very engaging, and I congratulate all of you. I'm honored to be here tonight and so grateful to be the recipient of this recognition. Dean Watson and former Dean Brooks, thank you both for believing me worthy. I'm humbled by your generosity and kind words. Jack, I gotta say, while you were up here talking, for the first time this entire week, I am feeling my age. And I think you helped with that tonight. I started work full-time at WVU on May 1, 1970. Our current dean wasn't even born yet.
19 days later.
Wow. Does that put emphasis on the phrase, where does the time go? When I started in 1970, I couldn't even wear pants to work. Now, it was early 70s and I could wear those mini skirts, but I couldn't wear pants. Women couldn't even be in the WVU marching band back in 1970. And it just seems so long ago. I want to thank my family for being here tonight to share in my celebration. Your support in my life has meant everything to me. You've celebrated my successes and shared my losses and sorrows and been my safe spot. My career at WVU in pursuit of a higher education degree didn't come without sacrifices at home. My kids had to deal with a couple undesirable babysitters over the years, and I wasn't always available to participate in their after-school activities. But now that I've retired, my goal is to spend as much time with my daughter Jill as possible. And to my family, I love you all dearly. I believe God put people in my life to help me grow. Then he continued to put people in my life to help keep me that way. And this honor bestowed this evening is only possible as a result of others investing in my life, both personally and professionally. First, I'm grateful to my parents. They set the foundation for how my brother and I would function in this world. I grew up on a small dairy farm, 20 miles from Morgantown, in a loving, conservative Christian home. We gathered at the table as a family for all of our meals and conversation. And I learned that if you didn't have something positive to say or contribute, then you didn't say anything. My family complains sometimes that I'm too quiet. No whining or gossiping was allowed. We lived off the land, raising whatever we ate. We helped our neighbors and we respected our elders. And hard work was a traditional value we were taught at a young age. That foundation of understanding how important my little task completions were to the overall success of the farm, I think has served me well. My career path was much different than the interesting stories shared this evening. I wasn't opposed to college after high school. I just didn't know what I wanted to be. And I was in love. So I got married and had a family. I didn't think pursuing a college education after that was in my future. But then one evening, my husband came home from work and he introduced me to my second love. He had a job application for WVU, and it was just for me. Within a week, I had taken the secretarial testing, interviewed the same day, and started work a week later. I made it in the door of WVU Human Resources, and I never left for 12 and a half years. Almost immediately, I fell in love. I found the work to be exciting and satisfying. I was continuously challenged day after day. I worked with the terrific people who cared about the job that they did and their dedication to the institution showed. They showed me respect, and my confidence grew. I finally discovered my passion and was ready to pursue my education. I was a full-time employee and a part-time student for many, many years. Tim, thank you for that introduction. I met my dearest friend Dixie on the job in HR. She was a former WVU cheerleader and has been in my corner cheering me on in my life's journey, and I am grateful. Sometime in 1982, I realized my promotional opportunities within HR were exhausted without having my college degree. Dean Bill Douglas hired me in the fall of 1982 as his office manager. Now, I had worked for 12 and a half years at WVU, and I thought I had a pretty good understanding of how the university worked. That perspective was formed as an employee working in an administrative unit. I suddenly found myself knee-deep in an academic environment with faculty, both tenured and non-tenured, full-time and part-time instructors, graduate assistants, student workers, and not just office staff, but staff that took care of laundry, stored, inventoried, and handed out athletic equipment in 4 different buildings on separate campuses, and maintained the chemical safety and cleanliness of 3 pools. There didn't seem to be any routine schedule for anything. People came and went conducting business that was important to them. They came in all shapes and sizes and genders and nationalities and personalities, and usually vastly different viewpoints on any given subject. The difference between my experience in an administrative unit and my new academic unit felt polar opposite. I thought I had stepped in quicksand. But with the help, support, and patience of those that I worked with, I soon fell in love with my academic family and fell in love with WVU all over again. Doris Dorenzi and Carol Strait were two staff that immediately took me under wing and helped me navigate my new environment. They were part of my early PE lifeline. Gentleman Gene Coram worked with me in understanding the facility operations. Dr. Pat Fell kept me on my toes in handling the finances of the Lifetime Activities Program. Her work expectations always had me wanting to do my very best. Joanne Pollitt came on board in the dean's office and Tracy Wheeler in the business office. Over the years, we forged a strong support system for each other. Together, we learned to minimize the challenges, and we worked hard on the opportunities. Dean Bill Douglas was instrumental in my finally obtaining my undergraduate degree. The university had the Barabara program where you could submit a portfolio and receive credit for life's work. But I was passionate about the classroom experience and wanted to prove I could do it the normal way. But when Bill discovered I had 90 credits and only needed 34 more to graduate, he became relentless in encouraging me to submit my portfolio. So I did, and I graduated with 167 credits. Without Bill, I want to believe I would have my degree by now. But because of his belief in me and being so pushy, I can now appreciate the experience of having 2 degrees. It's never too late to pursue your education, but I wish I had met Bill about 6 years earlier. Associate Dean Lynn Hausner and I worked many years together with the online summer enrollment model, which over the years generated millions to support our college needs and growth. I appreciate Lynn's guidance and support, and he remains a good friend. Former Dean Dana Brooks and I worked together in CPASS for 36 plus years. As it was mentioned earlier, Dana's world of responsibilities and commitments and interest was mind-boggling. His hustle and energy was impossible to keep up with, but I tried. Together, we survived budget cuts, hiring freezes, audits, grievances, program growth, program losses, always negotiating for more program space, and finally securing a new building for the college to call home. Dana was always generous in telling me my efforts at work were appreciated, even during times of imperfection and mistakes. But that affirmation inspired me to want to be better, to try harder, to go the extra mile. I worked under 10 WVU presidents, with President Gee being president twice, but only 2 deans during my time at CPASS. And since Bill Douglas isn't here this evening, I can tell you, Dana, with certainty, you were my favorite boss. I want to thank the visiting committee, the current members, and all of those that have served before for the opportunity for me to witness alumni giving back to their beloved college with your expertise and time and finances. Our students' educational experience is enriched because of your commitments to strengthen the college and to help our students succeed. I thank the faculty I worked with that had service or research grants. It was challenging at times keeping up with the different projects and the deadlines and the reporting requirements, but so gratifying to witness your passion in your projects and celebrate your successes. I want to thank Andy Ostro and Bill Alsop for the opportunity to learn how to take a small private publishing business and make it fit into a nonprofit higher education environment. The warm and fuzzy feelings didn't come until the center was up and running. But in retrospect, I'm so proud that we accomplished what we set out to do. I thank them both for that tremendous period of professional growth for both Tracy Wheeler and myself. Tracy carried a heavy load on that project and kept us moving in the right direction. I thank the college administrative team that I worked with over the years. You always gave me a voice at the table. Jack, Val, Lynn, and Sean were and are excellent examples of hardworking and dedicated change champions. You made those long 18 meetings more bearable. I thank Diane Ray and Sherry Binion for the quick response to my numerous technology crisis issues over the years. They had the entire college to serve, but they always came to my rescue. My final recognition this evening is the most important and heartfelt for me. I thank the entire CPASS staff that I've worked with the past 3.5 decades for all you do, for who you are. I will forever be grateful. The staff is the backbone of the CPASS operations. Your hard work, dedication, service, and loyalty to our college and WVU makes a difference in the lives of the faculty, the students, and the community that we serve. And to the staff and their spouses that were able to share this evening with me, I will be forever grateful that you've been in my life. It was because of your talents and job skills and support of my goals that made this evening possible. I sought out West Virginia University because I needed a paycheck to help support my family. West Virginia University helped me discover my passions and dreams. The College of Physical Activity and Sports Sciences helped me make those dreams come true. Whether I was acquiring, creating, or disseminating knowledge, the process of learning at WVU has left me forever changed. Being part of the family has been a joy and a privilege. Thank you for the opportunities I was given to learn and grow and serve. It's been a wonderful evening. Thank you all.
Good job.
Thank you.
There's not much left to say besides wow, right? It is truly amazing to hear about the accomplishments of all of our honorees this evening and how much they've given back to our college and their professions, and how proud they make us as CPASS graduates and part of the CPASS family to be have walked the same halls as them. There's a common slogan at WVU: Mountaineers go first. That has certainly resonated through everything that we've heard this evening. All of our inductees have gone first. They've paved the ways. They've been trailblazers. They have set new limits, and they've striven to achieve their goals. As we listened to what was said this evening, I wrote down a number of words that helped me kind of encapsulate what I heard this evening. We heard about failure and how can we fail and learn from that failure. We learned about risk-taking and dedication, perseverance. We've had a lot of people talk about how their values have driven them to achieve what they have, and the resilience that they've had to overcome obstacles. This group of inductees has truly been inspirational, and I can tell you that I've been thoroughly amazed to listen to everything that we've had said to us this evening, and I feel truly humble. And beyond that, I feel proud to be a CPASS Mountaineer. So thank you all for sharing your stories with us. I want us all to have a wonderful evening, and thank you all for coming out and helping us celebrate these wonderful CPASS Hall of Fame inductees. Thank you.